You know, my last Storytime video did so well that I feel like I may as well give it another shot. I'm going to tell you today about my disaster of freshman year of college from start to finish, because there's a lot to tell. So I guess where we should start is orientation. I showed up nervous, just like everybody else, and you tend to play, at least this was my experience, these little games, these getting to know you type of things. And they're awkward, but harmless ultimately. Long day. You get through it, you get everything set up that you need to start your semester. But the first major event where things started to go wrong happened when I got home on the last day of orientation. There was still going to be one more event that night, but I went to walk out to go to this event. Everybody is congregated in the common room, and instead of turning my doorknob and opening it, my doorknob comes off and I'm standing there holding it, and there's no way for me to get out of my room. So I have to text the floor's group chat and I say, my doorknob fell off and I can't get out of my room. And immediately I hear howling laughter from the common room, and people, I can hear them start coming outside of my door yelling things that I can't quite understand, and in part laughing and also in part kind of panicking at this point. So what ends up happening is this repairman shows up and he ends up getting me out, and he says somehow it's my fault because apparently there's a wrong way to turn a doorknob, which I wasn't even aware of. But everybody on the floor, though they're laughing at me, is ultimately nice about it, and these two girls actually offered to let me sleep in their room, which in hindsight is an offer I probably should have accepted, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. I'm not sure they meant anything sexual by it, to be clear, but this just seemed to be a sort of omen to start the year that would be a sign of things to come, because it would really only get worse. So I'm sort of friends with some people on my floor, but I'm not really close with anyone. They're all sort of party animals, and a lot of people are gonna call me a loser, but it's not really my vibe. You know, I'm more the geeky type as I appear. The thing of it is, this starts to sort of alienate everybody on my floor, and they kind of decide that they don't like me because I'm not getting drunk with them. At one point, this girl actually bangs on my door. I open it and she says,
"What the fuck is wrong with you, motherfucker?"
It doesn't even sound real, but this is actually what she said. And I'm like, what is the problem? She's
Like, why are you not hanging out with us?
she's just like drunk off her ass. She actually ended up, from what I can tell, she had to go to an insane asylum or something along those lines. At least that was the rumor around the floor, because in the middle of the semester, she just disappeared and she seemed like she was having these intense mood swings. This is all allegedly. I don't really know what happened. Eventually she reappeared months later. Now, I would go home on weekends because I was a busboy at a local restaurant in my hometown, and I had to work. So apparently their parties would get really intense, and one night they were reported to the RA. They decided that I had done this, though I wasn't even there on the weekend. So someone else, I guess, on the floor also didn't appreciate their partying. They had decided it was me who was the culprit. So I was first interrogated about this once in the middle of the night. I walked out of the bathroom. They were just, two of the party boys on this floor were just sort of sitting in their dorm room, which was facing right at the bathroom. I was staring right at them when I walked out. They called me into their room and they started asking questions about where I was on the weekend. I told them the truth, that I wasn't there. They were clearly skeptical, and I knew they had been reported from the group chat because there was this whole drama going on. They let me go at this point, but it's about to get really crazy. So one day, I come home from class. It's a night class, probably around 7 p.m. I get back, and there's 4 of them sitting in a circle in the common room. 4 boys again, and in the middle of them is a wrestling mat. Now, one of them is known to be a wrestler. Now, it's clear that they're already drunk. It seems like they had been day drinking for a while. They again call me over, and they have decided, now they're in this tough guy sort of act, taking a much different tack than the first time. The first time was just impromptu. Now they've all sort of gotten together and decided to gang up on me. And they tell me pretty much, we know you did it, and if you think that you can fuck with us,
You can't.
this is the gist of the ramble, the drunken ramble I receive from the leader of the pack. Simultaneously, I'm noticing one of them wandering off to the hallway to block off where I would go to just go back to my dorm room, which is all I want to do at this point. And pretty much what they spell out to me is that there's two ways that this can go. They can either make it their vendetta to make my life a living hell, essentially is the implication of what they say, or we could settle it right there with a wrestling match. Of course I protest at first, in a sort of fight or flight mode. Kind of feels like the jungle with this pack kind of ganging up on me. Ultimately, what has to happen is that I have to take my shirt off, exposing my fat belly, which they all scream and cheer at, and I have to get squared up on the wrestling mat. They show me how to do so. I guess that was nice of them. And I'm gonna take on a trained college athlete at this point. Worse yet, there is a few of the girls from the floor who have now gathered outside, hearing the ruckus going on, to witness the proceedings. So the match is over very quickly, as you might have expected. This wrestler actually seemingly chose to be merciful towards me. I'm sure he could have broken my arm or leg very easily. He essentially put me in a maneuver akin to the walls of Jericho. If you watched wrestling growing up like me, you'll know what that move is. This was tremendously painful, and I began tapping out almost immediately. This did not immediately stop him, to be clear. He continued for quite a while to apply this move to me, which was very douchey. The girls, maybe they thought I consented to this match. They seemed to be laughing hysterically at this whole process, which I guess on some level I can't blame them. But essentially, I went through a college hazing ritual without even being a part of a fraternity. Now, once these boys, who were seemingly my new masters, deemed that I could go back to my room, I obviously did so. I teared up a little bit, to be honest with you, as I sat there. But the rest of that semester was surprisingly pretty normal. I didn't interact with them much after this. The only thing was they put a sock on my doorknob at one point. I guess they wanted people to think that I had a girl in there. I don't know how that's an ownage exactly, though. Like, wouldn't that be a positive for me if I was getting laid? Like, I don't think that's a good prank, is all I'm saying. But the following semester, I got a transfer so that I didn't have to live in this dorm anymore. I went to live in the numerous other freshman dorms on campus. And yeah, this was 6 years ago now, and I felt like, though it's one of the, probably the most embarrassing moment of my life, if not definitely second or third, I wanted to share it with you today for, the possibility of YouTube views. Anyways, Chatroom Surfer logging out.